makes most women start a business? Is it passion, money, or freedom? Welcome to Female Founders, the podcast that takes you behind the scene with women who are founders and CEOs to help you start and scale a successful business of your own. I am your host, Nagelia de Ravin. Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Female Founders. In today's episode, I have the pleasure of speaking with Valéssa Taylor. Valéssa is a former Iraq War veteran with a rich background in the Air Force and the Department of Defense, and now runs her own company, Go Carmine Body Soul LLC. She uses her military experience to help others in her role as a master coach, trainer, and speaker. Valéssa is known for her inspiring TEDx talk and for hosting the insightful podcast, Let's Talk Corelicious, Leave Room for Dessert, about life and success. Her work is all about helping people and businesses grow and do their best. Good morning, Valéssa. Oh my goodness, what a pleasure to have you here with me. You are such an amazing woman doing so many great things. Can you tell us about your journey from joining the military to starting your own business?
Absolutely. Well, my journey began in 1994 of January, and it ended in September 2015. It was an amazing journey because when I started my military career at the time, I was married to my husband. He's no longer with us right now, but he decided that he would go into the Army, and he served 4 years in the Army as a Morse code operator. He only did 4 years, and he said, Valéssa, we need to leave a small town from Greenville, Mississippi, and we need to travel the world and do amazing things. Well, what I ended up doing is joining the military, and I thought I was going to do 2 months, girlfriend.
2 months?
Yes. The recruiters, he said, you're going to do well. Just zip that and you will be fine. So needless to say, I thought I can do I did 2 months, but I ended up doing 22 years in the United States Air Force as a logistics specialist.
Wow. So 2 months end up with 22.
Yes, ma'am.
How did that end up like that? How did the other 2 get in the behind?
Okay, so I'm going to be honest with you. The 2 months, I was supposed to go in as a law enforcement officer. Mm-hmm. Since they had a rigorous exercise routine, my knees got bad. So they reclassed me into an admin, which was transportation, which turned out to be a blessing. So I cannot open my mouth too much because I'm on crutches in the back walking and stuff. So that threw my A game out of really talking and saying. And, so I really did keep my mouth shut.
You did give it a shot. But I think that you also enjoy it. That's the reason why you stayed in for 22 years.
I enjoyed my military career, and here's why. I became a logistics specialist, which that goes into cargo movement, that goes into passenger travel, and moving your personal belongings from A to Z all over the world. So I know logistics like the back of my hand. Seriously.
Wow. And
then I ended up working for general officers. My last assignment was at the 37 Training Wing, which that's the number 1 base for training in the United States Air Force. So I became an instructor, which I taught basic training, which is you teach people how to overcome their fears for speaking in public. And what I love to say, I've taught some amazing individuals, especially the ones that go to war, ones that are like equivalent to Navy SEALs. I had those books open. I was proud to serve and proud to give them the training that they deserve to defend our country.
But I know your husband's plan was to get out of the small town, travel the world. But how did that work with you staying in the military for 22 years with your husband's dreams?
Well, you know what? That's a great question. So what we ended up doing was I ended up having twins. And so he said at the time of way back when, having twins, that was expensive for daycare.
True that.
So what he ended up doing is becoming a full-time student. And
Okay.
as he was a student, and then I was working full-time in United States Air Force. So we
And
switched,
also,
so we switched roles basically.
so pretty much he also helped with the kids as well.
Well, he would help because he was online taking classes.
So he has the
So,
freedom.
so he had the freedom of taking care of the kid. And then when I come home, we would be a family again.
Yes, again. That's perfect. It's like, it's great when you meet that other partner that just can work with you to make things happen. Because some partners will be very mad because they have a dreams and then you decided to stay in that and then things change and they're not happy with it. But
Absolutely.
he makes it work with you and then
Yeah,
things
we were a
work
team.
perfect.
We were a team, and he's no longer with us. He passed away in 2003. But I will like to say it's because of us, our team effort that we had together to leave a small town of Greenville, Mississippi, to make something out of ourselves, and we became very successful.
Successful. I am so sorry for your loss. I'm sure he's still in your heart and still with you.
Yes, he is.
So now let's talk a bit about your TEDx talk. And you have that in 2021. So can you share what resilience is? Is the secret to my success means? I mean, like, because you talk about resilience is the secret to my success.
Okay, so here's the thing. First of all, let me just say I was the first African American Iraq war veteran to speak on TEDx on Juneteenth, 2021. When I say resilience is the secret to my success, that really talks about a young girl growing up in a small town that had some trauma in her life at the age of 13. And also she became resilient. What do I mean by resilient is she married her high school sweetheart. Although they married, they had some challenges along the way, which was very traumatic. But we didn't give up on that. We had children. Now, as I grew up from before I went into the military, I grew up in a very toxic household. My mother was a parent of schizophrenic, and I had that upbringing, but it did not deter me, or it didn't stop her as well, because she was a single parent, but she was able to give us a wonderful lifestyle. So let me let you know that was a upbringing that really harnessed my life to be an eagle, because I
Yes.
flourish. Even though that I had a bad relationship, I tell you some gems that propelled me to be great is that when I had my children, I have 3 children. My daughter is 31 and my twins are 26. Well, all of them have what we call a mental challenges that they faced. And so did I in my military career. So what I end up having to do is stop being an entrepreneur and take the reins on being a mother first. They went through stress. They went through suicide ideations. They went through all those things that wanted to defeat their purpose of being a purpose in life. So what I had to do is go to my knees and pray to God and say, you know what? I have had a lot on my plate. I've lost my husband. Now I became a single parent. Well, throughout that whole journey, my daughter tried to commit suicide 9 times. My other son was bulimic, and my other son almost died walking down the street, got hit and left for dead in the middle of the road. So what I say to you, those are all traumatic experiences in your life. So what did I have to do? Well, first thing I had to do is I had to have faith to know that this dark cloud would turn into a shining light. Well, how did I do that? I went into therapy for 17 years. And also, I looked at myself in the mirror. I peeled back those layers to say, you know what? I need support. I need help. I need to surround myself with people that are going to embrace me. I don't need to be ashamed of what I've been through, because what I found out, I'm not the only one.
No.
So what I end up doing is taking the reins, looking at my life, not being judgmental, and just say, you know what? I can do anything if I put my mind to it. When I lost my husband, then my children looked at me as their hero. And I said, you know what? Yes. But days get hard. A lot of days did get hard. But when I became an entrepreneur, I took it from my book that I wrote called Rape the Silencer. Good Girls Don't Tell It to Now. Rape the Silencer is a spiritual journey about me not listening to the whispers from God, but also knowing that every step that I make is going to propel me to be great. Then I had that companionship book, which is a spiritual journey, which says, are you suffering in silence? Write that fearless letter to your abuser and read it out loud and start journaling out your thoughts. And the reason why I talk about that, because I'm shifting more into an entrepreneur, but also being that core life coach. My first business is called Go Core Mind, Body, Soul. Be you, be relentless. This is about talking to corporate individuals and B2B companies that need a woman, a powerful influencer to come into their organizations to help them on customer service, resiliency, how we're going to keep moving forward when we got so much in the world going on.
No.
Well, that's where you call on me. And then I have Corelicious LLC, where we educate, we involve, and we empower. That is so purposeful because I talk to women that need the support, meaning that how do I own my own business? How do I write my business plan? How do I connect to my core to be successful? I don't mind sharing what I know, because I truly believe once you share what you know, that becomes infectious and it helps women grow and flourish and connect to dots to be who they were called to be. So
Amen to that.
in all of that, in a nutshell, I am an influencer that chose to be the best that I can be with the gifts and the strengths that God has given me. I am an influencer that will share my messages to the world, but also help them along the journey to let them know, number one, you're not alone. Number two, I'm here to guide you on the support that you need. And number three, go back to number one.
I like that one. Number three, let's go back to number one again because you need it. Oh, you are so awesome. But you're also a strong woman, because that's a lot for one person to go through. And having your husband to battle it with you was great, but you also lost him. You end up in your own. And having a kid laying down to die, as a mother, that's one of the hardest things. And another one, trying to commit suicide, is hard. I can't imagine even thinking about my own kid doing that. It's I think it's.
Well, I just want to say, my son, he didn't die, but he was left to death. He was in the middle of a road, fighting for his life, and an innocent bystander comes back on board, redirects the traffic, and he gets hit.
Wow. I have to stop for a moment. It's just sometimes the things that just happen in our lives, the things that we see in movies, right? We watch movies and we see them, and people don't realize that they actually happen in real lives. And some of us as women have to stand up and fight these things. And sometimes we have to fight them alone. And, but the one thing I love is the fact that we fight them alone, but we go out, we help others to not fighting it alone.
Absolutely.
Isn't that amazing?
I love it. And guess what? I just recovered 3.5 years ago from a brain aneurysm. And look at who I am today.
You are looking beautiful.
Thank you.
But also that you got a doctorate, right? You are
Yes. I have an honorary doctorate degree in philosophy and within science, tourism as well. So I love the fact that I can talk about that philosophy because I do always talk about my life and my journey helping so many people. And when I can put both of those together, it's this amazing thing. I am what we call constantly evolving from a caterpillar to a butterfly.
I love the way you say that. But could you I know you all give us a little bit about Go Call Mind Body Soul LLC, but
Mhm.
what inspiration behind its founding? Why did you wanted to start that company?
Okay, so let me recap again. So I wrote that book, Go Core. I wrote that book, Rape the Silence, The Good Girls Don't Tell It to Now. Now, when I wrote that in 2017, that was a journey of me saying I'm ready to go to my core. You see where I'm going with this? So
Yes.
this was a spiritual journey, and God gave me the name Go Core Mind, Body, Soul. Why? Because with my journey of my book, I had to go to my core, my mind, my body, and soul, and also really to my spirit. So that is why I call it Go Core Mind, Body, Soul. That's a personal story from my journey of sharing my story. I call it core story
Sorry.
about my life, which ultimately caused me to be you, be relentless. That's the tagline.
So and also with that company, that's the one that it's a B2B. You help businesses, and I know you focus on customer service. Can you give us a little bit more information about that?
The customer service piece, I love that. The customer service piece is really about going to the core. What is going to excite a customer when they walk through the door? They
Hmm.
need to be treated special. They need to know that you care about them. They need to know that when they have a bad day, they need to know that you can come to them and talk to them about it. Or even more so, give them the resources that they need. When they're doing a good job, they can use a pat on the back, or they can also use a quarter, like a quarter of the month, quarterly of the month, to recognize them. What we often tend to do is focus so much on the mission, we don't focus on the people.
Yes.
So what I'm saying is we need to do a combination. Our people come first because they need to make sure that they have their mind, their body, and their soul intact. You cannot soar like an eagle if you don't have all those components together. But also in everything you do, just like us being business owners, they need to know if they can trust you. And also trust goes back into relationships. If you can build a great relationship with your employees, they will go 110 for you. They will even stay after work for you and ask you anything you need me to do. I got you.
Hmm. So pretty much when you go into a company, you help them to be able to put the customer first and be able to support that customer when the customer need them.
Absolutely. Because if it wasn't for the customers, how would we be able to have the customer service that we really truly
That's
need?
true.
I'm going to tell you again, when I'm called to come into organizations, I can tell by the atmosphere of the employees on how the company is read.
Mm.
Because because if you go into a company when they're happy go lucky, chances are they have a great leader. Chances are they're providing them with time off when needed. They're giving them attaboys. Thank you. I appreciate you. how can I help you? What's going on? Or even just giving them like a birthday cake or card for their birthday. When I was in the military, I did that. I would come around and see how everybody's doing, but I didn't really understand that that was a way that they really started to respect you, admire you, and trust you. So
Yes.
when I was the go-to person, I was always like, oh my God, I'm always the go-to person. But what I didn't realize is I was building a connection with them that it caused them to start to trust me. And what I can say about my trust is I would had the opportunity to be raised by my grandmother and also my mother. But my grandmother was born in 1912 and she was an entrepreneur and she gave me so many gems. And she also taught me how to have that trust. And that is what I love about myself is that when we speak of something, it's between you and I. It's not the world to know about it because that's how you build that trust and a genuine relationship with others.
But also your grandma play a very big part of your life because I remember talking to you when you were telling me about you and your grandma conversations. So it's like she was like that influencer into your life.
Yeah, she was. And I can share a little bit. I remember being in the kitchen and she said, honey, baby, you see them blackberries out there? I said, yes, ma'am. She said, I am an entrepreneur and that's what I had sold so many glasses of wine to so many people and I sent most of my children to college with that, just that out there, okay? And I was like, okay, girl, mother. And she said, always get an education. She also told me buy everything with cash, and buy real estate. I mean, all these things she was telling me as a little girl. Now, you know what now, as a little girl, you know I'm not going to take heed to all that as a little girl. And then I saw her teaching herself how to read and write. And write cursive. Now we don't do that in schools nowadays, write cursive. But check this out. What she was doing was teaching herself how to write them, sign her checks when she got paid. I figured that out.
I love her.
Yes. Yeah, she was something else, but I'm telling you, I'm every bit of her.
Yeah, but you know, all these things, the funny thing is grandparents, all the things they're telling us, when we get older, especially with me, when my grandpa used to always a lot of wisdoms, and I got to go back and I'm like, thank you. I really can use this today. Thank you for it.
Yeah.
We don't listen as a young girls, but when we get older, we remember those wisdom. And one thing your grandma said, like she said, I put my kids to college as being an entrepreneur with selling my wine, with making them and selling them. And guess what you become?
Honey child.
And like she said, buy real estate. And that's not a bad advice because you know what? You can always sell that later on when you're in a hard time. So pay with cash usually is very helpful because those credit card bills can pull you down.
Yes, girl. I was like, oh my God, she was so right in so many areas.
She was.
Oh my God, she was so right. I was like, I'm just a little kid. What is she talking about?
I'm going to get all the credit card and the bills and pay with all of them. I don't need to pay them off.
Yeah. But she was so right. God rest her soul because she's smiling down, very proud, and my mother, and also my husband as well.
Yes, you have 3 strong people looking over you, so you're gonna be just fine.
Yes,
you're gonna be just fine.
A lot of wisdom there.
Yes, a lot of it. So you host a podcast, Let's Talk Corelicious. Leave room for dessert. So what inspired this team? And I love the name. It's just so like.
I'm so excited to talk about this. Another spiritual journey. I'm going to tell you. I used to tell a lot of my mentors, I said, hey, I'm coming out with a podcast. They said, okay, it's been 2 years now. What we doing here? I went on my knees and I prayed. I said, God, I'm ready for my podcast. I feel embarrassed. I keep telling people and they waiting and nothing happening. So lo and behold, the vision, I woke up and I said, and the vision was, let's talk Corelicious. Leave room for dessert. So really what it is having rock stars come on my podcast and they talk about life, business, and relationships. And my target audience is men, women, and young adults. So basically they're just coming on the show sharing so many gems about their life and how they are rock stars in what they do. And it's so much fun because I'm doing my passion. I'm doing what I truly love.
But why rock stars?
I came up with that rock star because I thought it was catchy and cool. You're a rock star. Yes, I love it.
You know, we are rock stars. Every day we wake up and every morning that we are wake up, we are just rocking this life.
I know. So isn't that great when you can say you are around rock stars? I'm a rock star. You're a rock star. We're doing amazing. So I just said, you know what? Let's just call it something fun. Rock star.
Rock stars. We are rock stars. So you know what? Next, if I'm ever in your show, I'm gonna bring a guitar with me. I'm just like,
Yes.
So now, how do you choose your guests to fit the podcast?
That's a great question. I am so blessed. Well, I want to give a shout out to bbsradio.com. Donald is awesome. And we have a platform that I can get guests anytime I want. Anytime. They always come in. And that's one thing. But what I did was I utilized my phone.
Ooh.
Who you surround yourself with is so critical these days.
It is.
So only thing I did was reach out to my mentors, people that I've known for years, that have made a pivotal point that's made me feel good, made me feel welcome, and also made me soar as an eagle. I just went to my phone and called them and said, I have a new podcast. Will you please join me on my podcast? And I like to plug this in. Juneteenth's grandmother was on my podcast for the first time because I was the first African-American Iraq veteran to speak on TEDx on Juneteenth. So I thought that would be great to have her on my show, her and her granddaughter.
Oh, yes.
Dr. Opalee. Yes.
Man, you are really rocking it.
Yes. So but you're looking at a woman, I'm going to get real serious here. You're looking at a woman that had low self-esteem, insecurities, shame and guilt, all those things. And I often feel like nobody in which I will say nobody has my story, but people have similar stories. And it's so important to take that story and really do something great with it. And why not use it on a podcast platform? Why not share it in your story? Or why not come to events and share your story? Because we need more kindness. We need more love. And we need to continuously draw into the infectiousness of loving people from afar where they are, no matter where they are.
But also, you also like to go to schools and speak with the teenagers in schools, right?
Yes, I just did a call at Dallas ISD when we talked about mental health. Now, that was such an amazing journey. I often say, my mentors say, just be you, Valéssa. Just be you. And so what I ended up doing was I end up captivating them with examples and stories, and I put my coaching hat on because oftentimes we have those resources at school,
Mm-hmm.
but we're too afraid to go and walk through the door. So I gave them some great analogies like you're not alone. Talk to someone that you truly trust, but also know that whatever you're going through is temporary.
That's true.
And I talk to them in a loving way to say, no matter what you're going through right now, it's not going to stop you to become successful. And I gave them some examples of some of my clients, not names, but I gave them some scenario based
Yeah.
on what they had gone through. Because a lot of times, if someone knows that you've gone through something similar or if you've gone through something, that will put them more at ease to come and talk to you. And the thing about it is we all are suffering from something. And as my grandma say, if you're not, just keep on living, honey. You will go through something in life.
Absolutely.
So what I can truly say that I love the students, those children, because some of them, they don't know what direction to go into. And I can truly say I would love to come to speak organizations, students, colleges, HBUs, to share my story so it can be so impactful and encouraging them that you're not alone. You got me. We got each other, and we're here to be successful and continuously grow, flourish, and evolve.
Because it's like every chapter of our lives will come with some happiness, right? But also some
Absolutely.
difficulty will be there as well. And
Mhm.
one thing I always said is that there's something for you to learn from both of them, from that piece
Absolutely.
of happiness that you have, and also from the hardship moments you're about to face. And like you said, it's always temporary.
Absolutely. It's temporary. But let me just digress a little bit. When I was going through my storm, I didn't think that it was going to be temporary,
Yes.
but I never gave up. And that goes back into go core, mind, body, soul. Be relentless. I was relentless on my journey. And then the Corelicious LLC, educate, evolve, and empower. I tell people, just like going to an airport and you getting on the airplane, the first thing they're going to tell you to do is put that mask on you first.
First.
So it took me a long time to get here, but I can say this, that I give 110% to my clients. When you ask me to speak to your organization, you're going to get 110%. And I love people. I've always wanted to do this since the age of 7. I've traveled 350,000 miles. I've lived in 4 countries. And you know what? I am still here because God has me here to help so many people just like me.
To share what you've been through so that they know that they are not alone. And
Absolutely.
the storm will always pass on. The storm is not here forever. And sometimes I think we forgot that, especially as teenagers. Oh my goodness, I can think of me going back being a teenager. It's like everything is forever. It's like that was
Yeah.
like the biggest problem of my life. And thinking about them, they were not even problems, really. You
Yeah,
know,
absolutely.
compared
Absolutely.
to what problems you end up having when you become an adult. Those are all like almost like nothing. Um,
Absolutely.
but again, some teenagers go through a lot more that I didn't go through. And those can be real problems that supposed to go through adults when you're an adult, but you end up going through them as a child. And having people like you to be there for them, to guide them and let them know that, hey, it's okay. I got you.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
But now, will you with the second company, and I know that with that the second company, you help women. You like how would I say that? Maybe I should just say a master coach.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
can you tell us a little bit? How do you help as a coach? How do you guide women into their journey?
Okay. When it comes to Corelicious, educate. Now, I'll start off with educate. I really do what we call a self-assessment on that woman because that's so important these days.
Yes.
I got to make sure, number one, if we're a good fit or not. But even though we may not be a good fit, I'm still going to give you some gems, girlfriend, because I got you. Okay. So what we're going to end up doing is I sit down and talk about what are your goals? What are your aspirations? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? What are your skill sets now that you are not utilizing? Because oftentimes the skill sets that we're not utilizing, we need to be utilizing.
Yes.
And oftentimes we're in a 9 to 5, not really wanting to be there, okay? But we're there because chances are you're at a 9 to 5, you are the subject matter expert of what you do, and you're not growing, and that goes into that skill sets. So I do what we call a self-assessment of that. It's very thorough. It's about 30 minutes. And once I do the self-assessment, then I come back in there and I give them a day to reflect on that.
Do it.
And the reason why I give them a day to reflect on their assessment is because chances are when you were talking about something about taking that next leap of faith or going to that next level, you need time in a quiet place to think about that. Because it's very serious because you're ready to make a move that you may not be comfortable with. And also you could be comfortable with it, but we need to unpack everything to make sure that you're ready to get on that plane and travel the world like you've always wanted to do. So educate, evolve. I share my story about what I've been through a little bit. I don't always talk about the trauma. I talk about more so the resilience piece of it. The resilience piece is how I raised 3 children alone as a single parent, and I became the hero to our story. Because I had to learn, I had to read, I had to also ask for help. I often say a closed mouth don't get fed.
Nope.
And empowerment is so important. We need to often embrace each other. I see you, Queen. You're looking good, Queen. I adore you. I think you're amazing. But you know what? If you need something, I got you. Let's come on over and let's talk about it. I love being on the Zoom, but also I love having a cup of coffee with my clients just to see them eye to eye. I love the personal relationship that we have. And also what I do is when I'm doing something that's personal, I ask them first, do you mind if I hold your hand? And also we pray as well. Do you mind if I send a prayer up to heaven and come down to grace your presence, grace our presence? I set that tone, that atmosphere. And also I've done it on LinkedIn as well, not LinkedIn, but the Zoom calls as well when I talk to my clients. See, the thing about everything that we do, I feel like it still goes back to growing up. You got to still, have those gems of how you were growing up. And that really still continuously goes on. And also to include my military career. I did 22 years in the military. So, I've been there. I've been through so much,
Yes.
but I said I was going to do 2 months and I did 22 years. So that goes back into the first part is be relentless, but also educate, evolve, and empower is so important. Are you living your full potential? If you're not, then that's where the master coach come in. I am here to guide you on this powerful journey so you can identify what you would like to have happen moving forward. Now, once we move forward and I see when we are a good fit, I will introduce my coaching programs. And also, they also have me ongoing to talk to me. You don't want to have somebody in a coaching program and it's just one time.
Yes.
So you want them to continuously know, I got you. See, when I say I got you, this is ongoing.
You're not alone. Yes. You're not
Ongoing,
alone.
you're not alone. And that's what people need to understand, because these roads, they get heavy driving, navigating. And you need somebody that's been there, done that, have those life experiences to share with so many people. And then they can say, you know what? If she can do it, he can do it, I
I
can do it.
can do it too. And I love that. And you're right. Being part of a coaching program, it's not just here this, go do it, and you're on your own. Sometimes there's more into it than that. You need to know that that person have your back. You can, if you have a questions, if something happened, you have someone you can talk to, because not everyone have some.
Absolutely. And here's the thing that I would also say is most of my coaching programs, they're by Zoom. And here's why I say that. I like to look you in your face. If I can't see you, at least I can see you and say, hey, I need to hold you accountable. So I'm your accountability partner. That's what's important, to hold you accountable. I can't be really in your face, but I want to be in your face to let you know. And also, I'm your confidant. What we share is what we share, because it's just so important. I want to see us all win.
Yes.
I don't mind sharing, and I'm not intimidated by other women either. When I see another woman flourishing, I say, oh, yes, congratulations, queen. I see you. You're doing amazing. I don't have those insecurities. I used to have those insecurities, but when I look within and I unpacked a lot of that trauma and said, you know what? I can do anything, but I can't do it until I start with me first.
First, yes. So now, what is one piece of advice would you give to someone looking to foster resilience in their own career or personal life?
This is what I would tell them, and I'm going to be real. The roads are going to be hard, but just keep the faith. Faith is what got me through it all. And keep evolving. Always remember the caterpillar to a butterfly, honey. The caterpillar to a butterfly. And you will be just fine.
So now, how can someone reach out to you for support, for guidance as a coach, but also even a corporations that needs your help?
Okay, there's a twofold to that. So Team VLT at ValessaLTaylor.com. That's for the corporations that want to reach out, or even also coaching. When it comes to my podcast, they can go to Let's Talk Corelicious at gmail.com, and they can be a guest on my show as well.
Well, thank you so much, Valéssa, for being with me, for, how will I say this? For being real.
I got you covered on that.
For being real, because you know what? We can dress all pretty, go out there, but in reality, there is a story behind that face.
Absolutely.
And that's the real you. And when you stand in that crown, you share that story, you just be you. And that feels so good when you are being you. And that's exactly what you are helping women doing. And we need more of that, because sometimes we have to put that mask and be someone that we are not. And you know what? We need to be us, because we have one life to live, and this is it. Live it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So thank you so much, Valéssa, for being with me, for sharing your wisdom with me, and for being you. And that we need more women like you. So don't ever change, will you?
You ain't got nothing to worry about, girlfriend.
Thank you for listening to Female Founders Podcast. That's it for this week's episode. Be sure to follow us on your favorite podcast app or connect with us on womel.com so that you don't miss our next episode. See you next time. Bye for now.